Thank you for joining us today for our first official virtual media availability for this year's CFP semifinal at the Rose Bowl game presented by Capital One. We're joined today by head coach Brian Kelly, offensive coordinator Tommy Rees, and 6 student athletes on the offensive side of the ball. I'm going to hand it over to Kraemer from Notre Dame's sports information staff to get going here with Coach Kelly. Thanks, Claire.
Thank you all for joining us today. As a reminder, we're going to be using the raise hand function. So if you do have a question for Coach Kelly, please go ahead and tap that button and we will get to as many questions as possible. Coach, would you like to start with questions or a statement?
No, we'll open it right up to questions.
Sounds great. We'll go to our first question from Eric Hansen.
Hi, Brian.
Eric.
Kyle Hamilton, did he come back from the injury as you had hoped? And then I wanted to ask you about a couple of your wide receivers. Braden Lenzy, I think there was hope for him that he might be able to give you a boost at the end of the season. Is that still a possibility? And then I know Kevin Austin's not going to play, but how is his rehab going?
Yeah, I think that, Kyle has done a nice job. We've really only had 2 practices. We'll have our third today. But he's done well. We got him some rest, which he needed. But I think he's done well, and I think he'll be able to play at a high level, which he'll need to, obviously. Braden Lenzy will help us. He's got speed, which you're going to need against this outstanding Alabama football team. So he brings that element, and I think we'll be able to see that on Friday for us. I think just, from that perspective, Kevin has managed as best he can, a very difficult situation. He tried to get himself back in. Now we're going to have to opt for the surgery. And, like I said, he's going to come back from this, and he'll come back stronger. But it's just one of those things where, he tried to come back from the break again, and just wasn't going to be able to function at the level that he's capable of playing at, and so we'll have the surgery after the season.
We'll go next to Tim Priester.
Brian, offensively, you've been very good on third down. That's an area where Alabama's defense has struggled a little bit. What have you seen of that on film? I'm sure like it does for your defense, it starts on first and second down. And then secondly, is there a competition between Corral and Lugg at center, or have you decided on that?
Yeah, third down is, as it's about what's the distance, right? I mean, the percentages for success range greatly, Tim, that, right? So it's certainly about that, right? It's about first and second down and managing third down to make it so much more of an advantage, from an offensive perspective. So we'll need to do that, right? We'll need to be better than we were in the last game that we played. So, too many negative plays on first down in the last game we played put us in longer third down situations. So clearly we understand that. And it's something that will have to occur in this game for us to manage third down better. Zeke and Josh are still at it. Haven't made a decision yet. We're getting closer to that. I think another day today will probably put us at a decision as to who will be that starter. But they're both competing. They've both been getting first team reps. And quite frankly, I think after today, we'll make a decision.
We'll go next to John Finneran.
Morning, Brian. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks, John. Thanks for asking.
All righty. Could you talk a little bit about the strengths and particular personnel that you see in Alabama defense, and where do you need to be more consistent in what you're doing coming off of your last game?
Well, from a defensive perspective, big and physical up front, which is the model that they have built and Nick has built on defense. Certainly athleticism at the linebacker position, and probably the best corner that we've seen in Certain in all areas. Both corners are outstanding, fundamentally sound in every area. They have all the answers in terms of what they want to do, and they do it very, very well. I mean, it's not, an overstatement to say that they're well coached. I know it sounds like coach speak, but they're well coached in all areas. And what they do extremely well with really good football players. So, that falls back on us to be much better at what we do. And we have been during the year. We played 11 games and one of them wasn't up to our standard. We'll have to play up to our standard in the games that we've played well. That will be the kind of execution we'll need against, an elite football team.
We'll go next to Michael Casagrande.
Yes, Brian, just wondering, do you guys have something to prove as a program after the BCS game in 2012 and then the Cotton Bowl in terms of postseason performance?
No, I mean, we're knocking at the door every year playing really good teams and great opponents, and there's elite football teams. I don't know why this narrative continues to pop up when we're always in the games. No, we haven't won a national championship. That's correct. I'm not changing the record, but we are there every single year and we are grinding it out just like everybody else. And only one team gets to celebrate at the end of the year. And we're going to keep banging it and we're going to keep getting back here. And that's our job. And that's our challenge each and every year, is to compete for a national championship. And we'll continue to do that.
We'll go next to Pete Sampson.
Brian, now that you have a couple years in the bank with Kyle Hamilton, I was curious if you look at him as, is there a player you've coached like him, and just sort of structurally what he has allowed Clark to do defensively to really take advantage of his skill set, but also do some things that are unique defensively?
Certainly he creates, a bigger call sheet. You can do a lot more with somebody with his range, his ability to, come down and play close to the football, but yet, play deep in the middle of the field. That's a unique skill set that he has. His range and coverage doesn't hurt either. So, there's a lot of things that he does extremely well, and there's things that he's going to do better as well. He has not reached the level that he's capable of playing at. He's going to get stronger in the offseason. There's going to be I think you're going to see him in the weight room do some things that is going to allow him to grow his game even more. So as good of a football player as he is right now, I think you'll see next year somebody that can possibly take his game to an even higher level in terms of blitzing, giving us some additional calls on our call sheet when we insert him into our defense.
Our next question is from Patrick Engel.
Brian, I guess since the last time you and Alabama played in the BCS title game, for different circumstances and reasons, you've retooled or rebooted, maybe it isn't the right word, but tweaked some things. Even in different things that have brought that up, I'm kind of curious if you've seen any similarities just in things that have kind of opened your eyes as far as little tweaks you need to make from being at an already pretty high level to trying to find that top of the top one, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, look, if you're not getting better every year and everything in life, you're getting left behind. So you need to look internally at what you're doing. Even after going undefeated that year, we lost in the national championship game, and we were looked at as not a very good football team. So we needed to look at the things that could help us grow, and we've been doing that each and every year. So are we a different football team? We're a different program. We have to be. You have to change, and you have to be able to stay up with the current trends and things that are occurring every single day. We all do, right? Whatever business we're in. So yeah, we're a different organization. We're a different program. We stand for the same things. Our mission is still the same, to graduate champions. But yeah, the way we go about things on a day-to-day basis, how we develop our players, who we're looking for in the recruiting process, they have to still fit Notre Dame and what we stand for. But you've got to be ever changing. You've got to be able to keep your pulse on what's going on in college football. That's just the nature of it.
We'll go next to Adam Rittenberg.
Hey, good morning, Brian. I wanted to ask you about tempo. You guys have been really good at time of possession all year long. How much does that factor into a game against an opponent that nobody's really stopped their offense? Do you have to change anything, or is it just kind of how you have gone about that element of the game all year and just applying it to a game like this against Alabama?
Well, certainly we're cognizant of the fact that this is, an electric offense and scores bushels and bushels of points. And, we want to be able to play complementary football. And that is, keep Alabama's offense off the field while we're certainly scoring as well. So, I think it's, we're not running the Princeton four-corner, offense, but we are, trying to run our offense, which has been one that has traditionally been a ball control offense. So that still has to be in our mind in terms of, we can't come into this game and change, who we are. But the nice part about it is that's kind of been, our DNA this year. So we'll need to continue to do that. We can't be 3 and out. We want to hold on to the football because we want to play complementary football and keep Alabama's offense off the field as best we can.
We'll go next to Pete Byrne.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, Pete.
This kind of builds off of what he just asked you, but I think to me, maybe the biggest difference that I saw in your 2 games with Clemson is that the one at home, you guys were able to run the ball almost at will. And then in the rematch, they were better at that. We know Alabama's going to score a lot of points, but how essential is it to you guys to be able to run the football and to be able to try to run the football, even if you aren't able to do it early in the game?
No, I think it's very important. I don't believe that, I think we've seen that, there's really only a couple of teams that have been able to run the football against Alabama. And those are the teams that have been, in the game. Georgia and Ole Miss in particular, had some success running the football. And those are the games that really were contested, if you will. And not that Alabama had much contesting going on other than, again, I back that back a little bit. Florida was extremely competitive throwing the football against them and not running the ball. So I guess that's the one outlier there. But yeah, we want to run the ball. We need to run the football based upon who we are and how we have operated this year. We will have to run the ball more effectively than we did the last time we played.
We'll go next to Dennis Dodd.
Hey, Brian. These semifinal games in general haven't been very close. 8 out of the 12 divided by 17 or more, 3 touchdown spread by average. Please understand, this isn't a Notre Dame question. I'm just asking you as a coach, as an observer, why do you think that is with, supposedly the elite teams gathered in one spot?
I really couldn't tell you. I mean, it's certainly, the number one team has been, if you look at it, our game against Clemson was a closer game than they had against Alabama. So, I mean, if you do that kind of a comparison, it shows very little in terms of, what the disparity is. I think it goes to who's playing well at that time. And they're all elite teams because they wouldn't be here if they weren't. But if a team that is really, really good gets on a roll and is playing well and executing at a high level, it's really difficult to stop these teams because they all of us have the ability to, really play at a high level.
We'll go next to Mike Rodak.
Yeah, Brian, Alabama has kept the door open for Jalen Waddle returning at some point before the end of the year. Just how much have you prepared for him, and what did you see from him on film from earlier in the year?
Another electric player, somebody that can, change the game around quickly. Certainly as a special teams player, he certainly can do that. But, as a wide receiver, he takes a lot of, answers off your sheet, because you can't place all the emphasis on just those two receivers and Smith and Matucci. So it would make it difficult, even more difficult of an offense to slow down.
We'll go next to Jeff Spiegel.
Ron, what do you think when you look at Devontae Smith? What do you think is his greatest strength as a receiver?
Details, extremely detailed in the route running. I think everybody knows about one's speed and hands, but just somebody that is that young, that has the ability to run such precise routes and understands the game so well. His football intelligence, I would assume, must be off the charts in terms of the way he plays the game. So just reminds me of a veteran in everything that he does in terms of playing the position, at such a high level.
We'll go next to Tim O'Malley.
Coach, you mentioned last time out that Lawrence's ability to keep it and run was the true stressor on your defense. I appreciate this could be a long answer, but what is Alabama's biggest stressor on a defense? Is there something you can take away without being murdered by the other things?
Not really. I mean, it's the balance of Najee and his ability to run and catch the football coming out of the backfield. And then, Smith and Matucci. I mean, Smith is just that good of a player that, playing one-on-one against him is very difficult. So when you're doubling him, you're losing one in the box, and now you're putting Harris in a very favorable situation with a very good offensive line. So not a lot of good answers there.
And we'll wrap it up today with Pat Forty.
Brian, you mentioned earlier that coaches have to be ever changing. Nick Saban has led the nation multiple times in total defense, may lead it in total offense this year. What have you seen in his evolution as a coach?
Well, I think it's probably just that, an explosive offense that, has all of the trappings of today's, college offense, NFL offenses. I think we're seeing a lot more NFL resembling college today, but you're seeing all those things. This is not, pro-I, let's run it up inside and play great defense. They're still playing fundamentally sound defense, but, with the offenses as they are today, it's very difficult not to give up some yards. So you're seeing fundamentally sound defense. You're still seeing the same principles. You're seeing at times elite play in certain position groups at Alabama. And then, an offense now that, can rival the very best college offenses in the country.
All right, and we will wrap it up with you there. Thank you very much, Coach.
Appreciate it.
And we'll continue in a few moments with John and Bobby Arlotta family offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach Tommy Rees. So if you do have a question, please go ahead and use that raise hand function. And we will continue with offensive coordinator Tommy Rees. Coach Rees, your first question will be from John Finneran.
Hey, Tom, I wonder if you could talk a little bit about the strengths you see in the Alabama defense, in particular, certain players that stand out to you. And where do you think you need to be more consistent in what you're doing coming off your last game?
Yeah, I think the first thing that stands out just before personnel wise is just how well coached they are on defense. You know, they're structurally very sound. You know, their players play with an extremely high IQ and are able to adjust and make checks when you give them different looks, which is a sign of a very well coached team. I think they tackle extremely well, probably as well as anyone we've played, which shows, you know, how tuned in they are to the fundamentals. You know, personnel wise, for me, it starts with number 2. He's probably as good of a corner as I've seen in college football any year, to be honest with you. You know, we played him in 12 and they had a real good corner, D. Milner, but Surtan's special. You know, he's probably the strength of their defense in terms of an individual. 32, obviously, you know, extremely talented inside backer who can really play on all 3 downs and cover you sideline to sideline. So it presents a great challenge, both schematically and personnel driven. You know, for us, just being more consistent on first and second down, you know, not getting off schedule, not getting behind the chains and putting ourselves in third and long situations is something that we've tried to refocus on over the last 10 days or so.
We'll go next to Patrick Engel.
I mean, I have kind of a two-parter here that's semi-related. When you came to Notre Dame in 2017 and came back as a QB coach, and then when you took over the OC role, how much of what the offense kind of currently looks like did you have in mind, or was this kind of your preferred style versus just kind of playing to the strengths of the current team? And then what allowed you to make the player to coach and not just GA coach, but coach with a lot of responsibilities transition so quickly?
Yeah, the first part, you know, I think we're always going to play to our strengths, and something I believe in is putting our team in the best position to be successful, not just offensively, but the entire team. And, you know, heading into this year, we knew we were going to be really good up front. We have tight ends that can do a lot of different things for us. We have a veteran quarterbacks. We wanted to play to our strengths there. You know, I think in terms of just offensive vision, it's blended from the time I was a player and then each stop along the way coaching. You know, each system I've been under, each system I've been a part of or learned from has contributed to what you see now. And again, what we're going to be going forward, you know, that will again be all about how to put our team in the best position to win games. You know, and then for me, I think just coming here as a young coach, you know, I think anytime, you know, there's some skepticism there. You really prove yourself by your work ethic and the way you build relationships. And that's something that I've always tried to put first and foremost is just, you know, how can I make sure that I'm doing everything I can to show that I'm here to work and that I'm here to, you know, make this program better. And then, you know, starting as a quarterback coach, building a relationship with those guys. And then as your role increases and you become the coordinator, you know, increasing that relationship and that trust with the rest of the position groups. And I think, you know, it's really just being authentic. And if you have some authenticity to yourself and some, if you're true to your word and true to who you are, you know, those things are easy. The fortunate thing for us is we have such coachable and good kids here that it makes our jobs much easier.
We'll go next to Adam Rittenberg.
Tommy, as you map out how you guys can win this game, what does it look like for Ian? What does he have to do in your mind for you guys to be successful?
Yeah, I just think he needs to play within himself and within the system. You know, I don't think, you know, there's anything heroic that he needs to do that's going to single-handedly win us the game. I think if he operates the system and makes decisive and good decisions to put our offense in a position to be successful, then, you know, we're gonna have a chance to win the game. I think, again, like I said earlier, staying on schedule and giving us as many positive plays in a row as we can have. And I know that sounds simple or it sounds almost elementary, but I think when you play great teams, the more positive plays you can string in a row, the better you're going to be. And for him, it's not doing anything outside of what we're asking, and just, manage this thing in a positive way. And we're going to have every chance we need.
We'll go next to Michael Casagrande.
Yeah, Tommy, you were a player the last time, obviously, Alabama and Notre Dame played. What's changed the most with the program, and what did you learn from that experience of playing Alabama?
Yeah, that was, a long time ago for us. And, I was there, I remember it, and it wasn't a fun night, obviously. I think the program's come a long way under coach's leadership. I think, the way we were recruited, the way we've developed within our program has increased. And then I think just, we've been in this situation now multiple times, and there's a belief within the program that, we're consistently one of the best 5 teams in the country, and we handle ourselves that way, and we have that belief. And that's really the standard and the work ethic that we come, into this building with every day. And I think coach has built that consistency here over the last 11 years. And it's been really exciting just to see this place grow into where it's at now.
We'll go next to Tim Priester.
I mean, you already touched upon being more consistent on first and second down, but you guys have been great on third down offensively. Alabama struggled in that department a little bit. How do you take advantage of that, and how do you free up Ian Book in the running game after Clemson flattened things out for him?
Yeah. Look, part of it is just, understanding, hey, there are some things we got to operate from the pocket, right? And then, part of it too is, if there's some ways to create opportunities for him with help in the run game. It can't, just be him on his own all the time. But again, I think the weeks we've been really good on third down, we don't put ourselves behind the chains, and we don't put ourselves in situations that are harder to convert. I think, a couple of weeks ago, they did a great job with their plan of keeping everything in front and trying to make him operate from the pocket and give some different looks coverage wise. But, one thing, that our guys have done a great job of is week to week buying into whatever the plan is. And, third down's been something that's unique to us, week in and week out. And, our guys are prepared the right way to make sure that we're hitting on all cylinders.
We have a question via the chat from John Bryce. Your offense has been ball control, but also able to speed it up when needed. How important is that ability to go fast or slow offensively? And also, how much is that aided by your relationship with Ian Book?
Yeah, I think just from a holistic standpoint, not specific to this game plan or any other game plan, I think when you have the ability to change the tempo on a defense, it presents challenges for them. Whether you're in the huddle and breaking from there, or you're on the ball right away, or you're scanning to the sideline. I think, from an offensive philosophy standpoint, just being able to change that on the defense presents challenges. You can lock them into certain looks. You can lock them into certain personnel groups. There is a level of trust, with a veteran team, with a veteran quarterback, veteran offensive line that allows for some of that growth. I think even at the wide receiver position, we're a veteran there. We have 3 seniors that play the bulk of our plays, so there's a lot of trust there. And there's a lot of trust to add things that that they can handle. And so the relationship with Ian's critical, but it really takes all 11 to be on the same page to be able to handle those circumstances.
We'll go next to Chuck Freeby.
Tommy, I know you were frustrated with leaving points on the board, especially early in the ACC championship game. What steps have you been able to take, not only on the practice field, but in the film room, to make sure that doesn't happen again?
Yeah, I think it's critical to, as a team, as an offense, to understand where those points were left, right? How did those points get left on the board, and how, as coaches, can we put our guys in better positions to make sure, that we're finishing drives with 6, right? We talked about it after the game. Those first 3 drives, we're moving it great, but they account for 3 points. So at the end of the day, all those plays that got us down in a great position, they don't mean anything. And so, how do we make sure that we're able to stay on track and then execute in the most critical situations? Because if there's situational execution there on the first 3 drives, could be 13-0 going into the second quarter or whatever it was. But those are all things that we're focused on. Those are all things that matter and make a huge impact in the flow of the game. And something that is as situational execution has been emphasized, in practice, in the film room and meetings, not just since we got, going, but, re-emphasized over the last 10 days.
We'll go next to Mark Skoll.
Hey, Tommy, how much more comfortable have you gotten as a play caller since the Camping World Bowl? And then when did you know, like, hey, I could be pretty good as a play caller?
I think each week's a new challenge. Each week presents different opportunities. I think the cool thing is you grow with the team as the year goes on. Like for me, I can, the Camping World Bowl till now, you have a season for a body of work here where, if you need to play, hey, what is Ian really like in this situation as the year's gone on? Or if we need, hey, what is the line? If all else fails, I know I can call this and they're going to make it work. So I think, you kind of grow with your team, and that builds a level of comfort in terms of what you can call in certain situations. And they believe in the call, you believe in the call, and then they go execute it. Because, listen, the most important thing is that your players understand what the call is and that they have belief that it's going to work. And that's something that we've built throughout the year. I think the jury's still out on where I am belief-wise. But, I'm confident in my abilities. I'm confident in the team. And, again, we have a great staff that puts together a great plan every week. We have tremendous players that buy into the plan and go execute it. So, this is not a one-man army here. It takes every player, it takes every coach, and it's been fun for me and special for me to see everyone buy into the vision we've had and continue it into the playoff.
And we will wrap it up with you with Brian Driscoll.
Coach, I got a question for you. You guys played Georgia in 2019 and 2017, and there's obviously some defensive carryover schematically from what they do to what Alabama does because of that background. Are there any lessons you guys can learn from things that worked, maybe some things that didn't work or you would have liked to try that you can kind of carry over into preparation for a game like this?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. There are some similarities. It's not the same defense. And if you go back and study, obviously what Alabama was in the past, you see a lot more similarities to what Georgia was in 17 and 19. There's certainly some carryover. I'm not saying there isn't. But, it's funny you mentioned that because going into the game, that's kind of what I anticipated was, hey, it's going to look a lot like Georgia. And there are some differences there. There are certainly things formationally based, personnel based that are the same, and some things that we've done over the last 4 years here that will be staples and carried over. But I think this team presents a different challenge, and they certainly have enough wrinkles in there that it's not just a complete carryover, if that makes sense.
All right, we will wrap it up there. Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you.
And in a few moments, we'll continue with offensive lineman Tommy Kramer. So if you do have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand. All right, and we will continue with offensive lineman Tommy Kramer. Tommy, your first question will be from Tom Noy.
Tommy, coach talked about not meeting the standard against Clemson. How does the offensive line kind of use that and say, all right, let's do A, B, and C better and play to our standard against Alabama on Friday?
It just comes back to the details. It's not one thing or two things. It's just, being detailed in everything we do, whether it's watching a little bit more film or getting a little bit more drills after practice. It always comes down to the details in our position. I think we've done a great job this week, and we will continue to do it moving forward.
We'll go next to Andrew Mentok.
I wanted to see kind of how debilitating or tough it was to come back from the appendectomy surgery. I've had it myself, but I didn't have to do anything for like a month. So I wanted to kind of see how that process was for you.
Yeah, it was really weird. I felt like I got a point in the season where I was really rolling, and I think I was feeling really good. And then all of a sudden it just kind of hit. And then afterwards it was a little challenging to get, some core strength back, some stuff like that, because I had to go through my stomach. But I think I'm 100% now. Those couple weeks are just a little weird, getting all that back, getting back into shape and moving around. But our medical team did an awesome job, and I feel 100% now.
We'll go next to Ralph Russo.
Hey, Tommy. Wondering, as you look back on this season with all the protocols and all the restrictions and things along those lines, what did you miss? What were the tougher things that maybe you had to sacrifice and give up to play ball this year?
Honestly, probably the camaraderie and brotherhood. It's just different. I think it could be stronger in some ways, but it's not the traditional off season where we could hang out all the time or have barbecues or go to a coach's house. It just didn't work like that. You built brotherhood, and I said this to some guys, you built brotherhood through work. You saw Kyren running sprints on the field, like stuff like that. You just know that these guys have your back, and that's how you really build that bond, where it's different. It was different offseason. You couldn't hang out. You couldn't do stuff like that. So the brotherhood really had to be built on the field and in the facility.
We'll go next to John Finneran.
Hey, Tom, I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about, losing Jared Patterson. What did he do? What improvements had you seen him make in his time at center that that you guys depended on, and then suddenly were gone? That were gone when he suffered his injury.
Yeah, I mean, we all know it. Jared's an unbelievable player. He's an unbelievable communicator. He points everything out really well. He really is, the captain of the offensive line when it comes to that aspect of communication and everything. So that was definitely hard losing a guy like that. But Jared off the field is just as good as he is on the field. He's done a great job, with the guys that are battling, in the center position. He's done a great job with everyone else, helping out with communication. He's been in all the meetings. He's done everything he could, which just shows how strong of a character a guy like that has. So, yeah, we miss Jared on the field, but he's been an unbelievable teammate off the field.
We'll go next to Michael Casagrande.
Yeah, just wondering, what was your biggest takeaway from that last time you guys played in the semifinal 2 years ago against Clemson, and what's changed the most since then?
I think the biggest takeaway is that, we can win these games. And I think just hard work and everything we do together is what puts us in these situations. I think we're all really excited for this opportunity and ready to take it to them.
We'll go next to Pete Sampson.
Tommy, from I guess the first Clemson game to the second Clemson game, are there a couple of details you would point to and be like, okay, this is what we were on it in game one and was maybe a little off in game two? And I just sort of, how much is that sort of an emphasis of these 3 weeks to get cleaned up for Alabama?
I don't necessarily know if we were missing details. Like, I think we were still on all of our stuff. There's a few things here or there. We could play it a little bit more physical up front, but we learned from it. We're moving on, and we're ready to take that to Alabama.
And we will go next to Patrick Engel.
Tommy, we heard you guys a lot earlier in the season talk about the outside zone and how that's seems to fit you guys as an offensive line and a rushing operation really well. What do you think has made it fit you as a unit well, and to the point where, at least in November, you were able to go up against a defense like Clemson's and run the ball on a team like that?
Honestly, I think it first starts with our coaching staff. We have a phenomenal coaching staff that do a great job of putting us in the best situations. And then secondly, probably our backs. We have the best backs we've had since I've been here. They make the offensive line right. If there's a situation where we're not in the best position, they cut back and, burst really long runs. So I think it really boils down to those two things. We have a great coaching staff and then awesome backs who, put us in the right position.
We have a question via the chat from Todd Burlage. What has your time in Notre Dame meant to you? And to add on to that, what does it mean for you to represent Notre Dame?
My time at Notre Dame has been phenomenal. These past 5 years, I've built some of the best friendships and met some of the best people I've ever could have imagined. So it's been so special. And then, moving forward to represent this great university and the great people that I've met throughout here is special. And it's something that, you can't take lightly. There's a lot of people who have made me who I am that, watch me on Saturdays. So I'm really excited to go out there for them. And I've done that all season and throughout my career here, but it's a very special place.
We'll go next to Matt Freeman.
Hey, Tommy, kind of talking about Patterson a little bit. I mean, what are some of the challenges of bringing, I guess, two centers along and one who hasn't played a ton in Zeke? Obviously, that's not easy, but I mean, what can you do to kind of help them out?
Yeah, I think the main thing is just over communicate. Just pointing out things, helping them out in any way that we can, seeing different stances of defensive linemen, different weight, anything we can. And then off the field, watching extra film with them, the guards and the tackles, everyone just kind of getting together and, honing down the communication aspect. But I think that's honestly the biggest thing in the center position is communication and making sure we're all going to the right place and, seeing everything through one set of eyes.
And we will wrap it up with you with AP Studham.
Yes, good morning, Tommy. Tommy, I wanted to ask you about Alabama's defensive line. It seemed like they made some progress through the year, and specifically maybe about the edge rusher, Will Anderson Jr., the freshman.
Yeah, I mean, they have a very good defensive line, linebacking core. They're big, strong, tough. Number 31's a good player. He's got speed. He can make some different moves out there, but, it's nothing we haven't seen thus far. We're preparing to play the best every day, and that's what we're ready for this upcoming Friday. So we're excited to get after them. They have a great team, but we have a great O-line. It's going to be a great battle.
All right, and we will wrap it up with you there. Thank you very much, Tommy.
Thank you, guys.
And we'll continue in a few moments with running back Kyren Williams. So if you do have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand. All right, we will continue with running back Kyren Williams. Kyren, your first question will be from Pete Byrne.
Hey, Kyren, I've actually got two for you really quickly here. First of all, in order for you guys to execute what you want to do this weekend, how important is it for you guys to be able to run the ball effectively? A simple question, but nonetheless. And then secondly, after such a great season, all of a sudden, nationally, people seem to think you guys are maybe the biggest underdog of the bowl season. How does that make you guys feel, and is that motivating for you?
Just to answer your first question, it's been our bread and butter all season that we have to establish a run. So we know as an offensive line, as running backs and as quarterbacks and wide receivers that we have to be able to go in there and run the ball. No matter what it is, by any means, we have to run the ball. We have to establish our physicality early in the game and allow them to react to what we do. We can't ever be behind the chains. We know that as an offense. So running the ball is what our biggest focus this week for sure, being able to establish the run. And being the underdogs, it's motivating. Not everybody in the world believes in us, and it's okay because we don't want anybody to believe in us besides us. So as long as we got us as a team and as a coaching staff and as like everybody else in the building believes in us, then we know what we can do, and we're gonna go out there on Friday and do what we do best and play the Notre Dame football standards. So being an underdog is nothing new to us, and we're just gonna keep proving to the world who we are.
We'll go next to Tom Noy.
Kyren, given what you know about your offensive line, what gives you the confidence that they may have struggled against Clemson, but they're going to be better against Alabama?
I never lost confidence no matter what game it is, Clemson or Syracuse. It doesn't matter. I've always trusted my own linemen. I know that they're going to give me their everything and on every down, and I'm going to do the same for them. So it's that mutual bond between us that you're going to have to kill us to stop us. So to feel like that with our offensive line is huge, and I know that they feel the same way. And come Friday, that we're just going to leave it all out there on the field.
We'll go next to John Finneran.
Kyren, I wonder if you could tell us what it was like having to navigate through this kind of squirrely season with the pandemic. What adjustments you had to make, and how it's all played out for you.
As we all know, the pandemic hit unexpectedly, and we weren't even able to come back to campus. So kind of what Tommy was talking about, we had to hold each other all accountable. We all had to put in our works in 7 places. So when we come back to here as a team, that we're all ready to go and ready to attack this season. So I feel like this pandemic has helped us a lot. It helped us become closer in a way, not being able to see each other every day and still knowing that your brother is out there wherever he's at in the world putting in work so that we can come back this season and be where we want to be, and that's in the national championship. So I just feel like that helped us a lot, helped with us team chemistry, and it held a lot of people accountable.
We'll go next to Holly Rowe.
Hey, Kyren, you really literally hit the ground running, and I'm just curious, give me some specific examples of things you were trying to do this season as a young player that has led to this success.
I told myself after I got redshirted that I wouldn't ever be in that position again, and I had to work out of that position. So I was able to change my body, get my mind right, to come back here and just all I did was work. All I knew was work. So I just knew with that work that I put in that it would pay off sometime. And then, like you said, it came out this season just full force, ready to go. And I really feel like that it kind of boosted our team chemistry because, the running back position was kind of skeptical this year coming in, not knowing who our starter was going to be and who was going to be the running back. So I feel like just coming in and proving to my teammates that I'm going to work to get better, and then they seen that, and I really feel like that they looked at me differently after that.
We'll go next to Dennis Dodd.
Hey, Kyren, I'm a little bit familiar with your background, but could you real quick go over your recruiting, how you got to Notre Dame, even what you guys ran at I think it was Vianney, right?
Yeah. So just knowing to come to Notre Dame, it's literally cliche, but for me, it really makes sense. Being at Vianney was a Catholic institution, and coming here, there wasn't really much of a drop off knowing things and the religious aspect. So I didn't feel uncomfortable about that. Going to mass every Friday was something that we did in high school. So coming here was nothing different, and it felt like home, and I felt like this is the place I need to be. And here I am, and here I am to stay. So yeah, I'm just happy to be here and blessed.
We'll go next to Pete Sampson.
Kyren, you've talked about your sort of redshirt season quite a bit and how that helped you grow. And, Jordan Johnson, another St. Louis guy, you guys, train with the same guy. What has this been like for him? How have you sort of helped him go through a season that, as good as the team was on a personal level, probably didn't go as like he had expected when he showed up?
Yeah. So, like you said, I'm close with Jordan. I've known Jordan since I was in the 2nd grade. We played Little League together all throughout high school. We always competed against each other. So I feel like me being here for him is one of the biggest things that keeps him level-headed, just knowing that he's redshirted and not going to be able to play, that it doesn't matter. A year, I always tell him, a year can change your life. And I really believe that. And he really believes that. So with work, there comes success. So like you said, and like I said before, all we know is work. And then Jordan knows that if he keeps working, that he's going to be where he wants to be in the future. And and I know for sure that all he's gonna do is work to get there.
We'll go next to Ralph Russo.
Hey, Kyren. Playing off a little bit of a question you got earlier about sort of all that went into playing this season, was there anything that you missed? Anything that you just, sort of in your personal life that you had to give up that, was maybe tricky that you had to get, become accustomed to?
Yeah, not being able to see my family because, last year being redshirted, I didn't travel, so I was able to, my family was able to come up here and see me whenever that I wasn't able to travel. So knowing that I'm not going to be able to see my family until the season's over, that's been the biggest impact for me because my mom and my sister, they're the two most important people in my life, and not be able to see them for at least 9 months and not be able to go home because I'm a big homebody. So not be able to go home it's really affected me, but that's a sacrifice we have to give up to be where we want to be. So I'm willing to give up anything for this team and for the success of this team.
We'll go next to AP Stedham.
Good morning, Kyren. Kyren, good morning. I wanted to ask you about Coach Lance Taylor, running backs coach. Being from Alabama, how has he helped you become a starter? And can you mention any funny anecdotes about Coach Taylor?
Coach Taylor, he's always pushed me. It was from the first practice I've been here that he's always pushed me to be better who I am because that there's more that I have in my game that I haven't even showed. So I know from being here from the spring and being not even being recruited by Coach Taylor, but meeting him after I got here, he's already took me under his wing and showed me like the ropes of everything, and I really appreciate Coach for that. And I don't really got any funny stories, but I know after the Duke game, me and Coach Taylor, we sat down, and the first thing he told me before we watched film, he's like, "You could have played better," and that's the mentality that I have. I like that mentality. I don't ever want to be satisfied. I always want to go for more. And Coach Taylor, he really knows that in me, and he pushes me every day to get there.
We'll go next to Jeff Spiegel.
Kyren, we know the pressure that Alabama's offense, the ability to score a lot of points, can put on defenses. How much pressure does that put on the opposing team's offense to have to answer?
I don't think it's much pressure. If we just play the game and stay true to who we are as an offense, that we'll be able to complement our defense and give them, more breathing room to make plays. So I don't think it's much of a pressure thing more than it is just being on our technique and being true to who we are and playing sound football.
All right, and we will wrap it up with you there. Thank you very much, Kyren.
Thank you.
We'll continue in a few moments with wide receiver Ben Skowronek. So if you do have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand.
You have to wear it.
All right, and we will go ahead and get started with wide receiver Ben Skowronek. Ben, your first question will be from Carter Carls.
Hi, Ben. After the Louisville game, you talked about how Ian Book's approach kind of changed, how he got really focused, really kind of mad at himself into the film room and really just had that laser focus. And I'm wondering what you've kind of seen from him these past couple of weeks since the Clemson game, if it's been kind of similar or what you've kind of seen from his approach.
Yeah. Like I mentioned after that game, he's been in the film room every day, working just to get better every single day and just having that mindset of, improvement and growth. So, if you're in here after practice at the Goog late at night, you're probably going to see Ian. He's in here every single day, just working to get better and improve his overall game, mentally and physically.
We'll go next to Chuck Freeby.
Ben, Tommy Rees talked about situational execution being a problem in the ACC championship game and a focus going into this game with Alabama. Can you give us some examples of where the situational execution broke down in that game and what you guys have been working on?
Yeah, if you look at that game, I think the first 3 drives, we were moving the ball really well. We just need to execute better on third downs and in the red zone. We wholeheartedly believe that if we scored touchdowns, on those early drives of the game, and the outcome would have been completely different. So, our focus these past couple of days, work days of practice has been third down and red zone. We just need to execute down there. All the teams, that win championships are able to execute in the red zone, execute on third downs, and keep drives alive. So that's been a point of emphasis all season, but especially, these last couple of weeks.
We'll go next to Dylan Sin.
Hey, Ben, I wanted to ask you about your decision to transfer to Notre Dame last year and what this last year has been like for you. Are these the type of games that you wanted to play in when you transferred, and how excited are you to be playing in the playoff?
Yeah, 100%. When I made that decision to transfer, I talked to the people close to me, especially my family, and, being a kid growing up, just being a big college football fan, I wanted to play in the college football playoff. I wanted to play in games like the Rose Bowl, games like earlier in the season versus Clemson where it was 1 versus 3, games like that. You watch those games growing up and you can just imagine yourself as a little kid, in those shoes, making big plays in those games. So, the decision to transfer definitely wasn't easy, but, I knew, the destination I wanted to play at. I wanted to play in games like these. And there's only a handful of teams in the country that year in and year out are playing in the college football playoff. So I'm very happy with my decision to transfer. It hasn't been easy going through a pandemic, missing all spring ball, missing a lot of, time to learn everything, build relationships and all that. But at the end of the day, I'm very happy with my decision. And, this year's been unbelievable despite everything that's gone on.
We'll go next to Ralph Russo.
Good morning, Ben. Been asking your teammates. So this has obviously been a very weird year. Are there things that personally you've missed or that have been maybe a little more frustrating or difficult to deal with than others as you guys, go through all these protocols and restrictions to get to play?
Yeah. Obviously I think everybody in the world's had, they've been missing stuff, but for me, it's just, spending time with my family, all that stuff, spending time with other people's families as well after games and just kind of building relationships, getting to know people and all that. But, also just the small things like eating together as a team. We do it with a glass divider in between us. So it's just different this year. I miss those meals and just getting to know people, the locker room, all that stuff. It just all looks different. So there's definitely a lot of stuff that we all miss, but it's definitely those relationships for me.
We'll go next to John Finneran.
Hi, Ben. I wonder if you could tell us what you've seen so far in preparations for Alabama, what kind of defense they've got, any particular players, and how does their defense compare to some of the teams that you've played this season?
Yeah, just the first thing that pops out on film is their team speed. They have a lot of team speed on defense. Being one of the top defenses year in and year out in the SEC, you're going to expect that. But obviously their secondary, led by Patrick Surtain. He's a heck of a football player. He'll be drafted pretty high in the next draft. So I'm excited for the opportunity to line up against him. But overall, they're a really good defense. We're going to have to bring our A game on Friday.
We'll go next to Jeff Spiegel.
Ben, you mentioned Surtain. Talk about him and what makes him the best cornerback in the nation, in your opinion.
I think it starts with his feet. He has really good feet, able to mirror routes. But when you combine that with his length and overall athleticism, that's going to make him a top cornerback prospect for the upcoming NFL draft. So he has all the intangibles, but I'm excited to go out there on Friday and compete against him.
We'll go next to Pete Byrne.
Hey, Ben. Just wanted to talk to you about the respect, or perhaps the lack thereof, being given to the team heading into this game. I mean, you guys have arguably the top win in the nation this year. You were in the top 5 all season long, and yet I know you don't look at projections or point spreads, but you guys are considered maybe the largest underdog of this bowl season. I wonder to what effect that motivates you guys.
Yeah, obviously we're going to have motivation, having the chip on our shoulder and all that, but games like these where people are talking about it, you turn on TV, you see all these promos, commercials, just people talking about it. We tune all that out. I couldn't tell you what the narrative is around this game. I know we're the underdog. Obviously, they're the number 1 seed, we're the number 4 seed, but it's just up to us to go out there and compete. Compete every single play and go out there and get the win. We're not worried about the spread. We're not worried about all that. I couldn't even tell you what all that means, honestly. So we're excited for the opportunity to play in the Rose Bowl and play in the college football playoff and just compete every single play.
We'll go next to Michael Casagrande.
I was just wondering, how similar is Alabama to Clemson defensively in what you've seen on film?
Yeah, Alabama keeps it a little more, I don't want to say simple, but Clemson has some pretty exotic schemes. So you never know what you're going to get on each third down. But obviously, they both have great players on defense. They have a lot of future pros on defense. So, the talent level is pretty similar between, a Clemson team and an Alabama team.
We'll go next to Chris Heidel.
Hey, Ben, thanks for taking my question this morning, or this afternoon almost. What was it like going down to Texas to play in that big stadium at AT&T Stadium? It's like the biggest scoreboard and everything. Are you going to be like all when you get there?
I don't think so. I've played in some pretty big stadiums throughout my career, but certainly it's one of the biggest. But at the end of the day, it's a football game. It's the same 100-yard field, same dimensions as every other field we played on. So, I think maybe when you first walk in for the walkthrough, you might have, a little reaction. But when it's game time, you don't worry about the size of the stadium. You don't worry about the fans and all that. All that matters is between the lines. So, like I said, it's the same dimension as playing it on a high school field. It's nothing different than Pee Wee football and all that. It's the same football field.
And we will wrap it up with AP Stedham.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning.
Ben, what's the difference for you playing against a relatively smaller cornerback and a cornerback with some length? And then also you transferred from Northwestern, the Big Ten, they played the ACC schedule this year, Notre Dame. What is the differences in those two leagues?
To answer your question, I'm a bigger receiver. So, going against the smaller cornerbacks, obviously jump balls are definitely in play for me every single play. But, I think a good cornerback, I don't think it matters, their size or their stature. At the end of the day, that you just got to measure it with heart and stuff and playmaking ability. And then to answer the second part of your question, there's definitely some differences between the Big Ten and the ACC. The Big Ten, it was, a lot of defensive heavy focus, run the ball, stop the run, all that, just some hard-nosed football, especially in the Big Ten West where I playing schools like Iowa, Wisconsin, year in and year out. You better stop the run and you better be able to run the ball. The ACC, it was a mixture of that. There's some teams that aired it out. There's some teams that ran the ball a lot. You just never knew what you're going to get week to week. But I only had 1 year of playing against these teams, so it's not like I knew exactly each year how the teams would play in the Big Ten. You had a pretty good feel that Wisconsin was going to run the ball, Iowa was going to run the ball, all that stuff. But it's been fun to adjust to a new league and just learn different styles of play and all that.
All right, we will wrap it up with you there. Thank you very much, Ben.
Thank you, guys.
And we'll continue in a few moments with tight end Michael Mayer. So if you do have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand. All right, and we will continue with tight end Michael Mayer. Michael, your first question will be from Holly Rowe.
Hey, Michael, how are you? Nice to chat with you.
You too.
Okay, so you have been super productive, 35 receptions for a freshman. Give me an example of some things you did to be prepared when your moment arrived and you kept going.
Yeah, I think in terms of my production, the offensive staff has done a great job of putting plays together that make me successful. I think Ian has done a very good job of giving me the ball. The O-line has done a very good job of blocking. But I think in terms of my success, it's just the mindset coming in. When third down comes, all right, this is my time. Is the ball going to come to me? Run the right route? How many steps am I going to take? That type of thing. But overall, it's a team effort, and everyone, including Ian and the O-line and everybody else, has done a very good job.
We'll go next to Pete Sampson.
Mike had a couple. One, I guess, when you're recruited as a Army All-American and all that, you expect to have freshman success. I was curious when you felt like, okay, this is happening for me. Like I'm going to make this jump to this level this soon. And then also I was interested just sort of like that third down drag route that you guys run all the time. If you were surprised that it took teams that long to sort of figure out that was something that you like to take advantage of.
Yeah, I don't think there was just a certain time in my career here that I was kind of just like, okay, wow, this is real. I think it was more of a come here and just work and put my head down and whatever happens, happens. And in terms of the second question, yeah, I mean, that's been a very successful route all year long. It's something we've repped a ton of times. And if it's going to keep working, we might as well keep running it.
We'll go next to Patrick Engel.
Michael, what do you think has gone into yours and Ian's pretty clear rapport and chemistry and production on third down, where I think he's looked your way on third down more than any other receiver?
I think it's just him trusting me. We've repped a ton of routes, ton of catches in practice, and it's just the trust that the quarterback has in me to get the first down and run the right route and run the right amount of steps and things like that. So it's just the big time trust he has in me.
We'll go next to John Finneran.
Michael, I wonder if you could talk to a little bit about the Alabama defense, what you see as the strength and their secondary. And the other question I have is, when you came here, was there a particular player or a coach who kind of took you under his wing to kind of make things a little easier for you in the transition?
Yeah, in terms of the Alabama defense, they're obviously very, very well-rounded defense. They have quick linebackers, they have quick secondary, and they're very aggressive and they get a lot of takeaways. I think it's just going to be about running the right routes, Ian trusting us, and also protecting the ball. We can't give away any fumbles in a big game like this. And what was your second question again?
About if any particular players or coaches kind of took you under their wing to help you get acclimated once you got here.
Yeah, obviously coming in as a freshman, you got a lot of things to learn, a big playbook to learn and things like that. But I think in terms of someone taking me under my wing, I think Coach McNulty has done a very good job of teaching me many things in the game of football. He's been around the game of football a very long time. He's helped me with the playbook. He's helped me with, just more of like a knowing football type thing. And he's definitely helped me. He's believed in me since day one. And that's very important.
We'll go next to Jeff Spiegel.
Michael, talk about the moniker Baby Gronk and how much that means to you to know that, hey, here's a guy who knows you and knows what you're doing on the football field.
Yeah, obviously the nickname Baby Gronk is kind of been pretty big this year. Obviously not a bad nickname to have. Rob Gronkowski is one of the best tight ends and pretty much ever. But people around here always call me it, always joking about it and stuff. But obviously a very good nickname to have, and I'm just going to keep playing football.
We'll go next to Ralph Russo.
Hey, Michael, so as a freshman coming in this bizarre year, have you felt like you've been able to get to know your teammates, and what has been some of the obstacles, the struggles to sort of like having the camaraderie as one of the new guys?
Yeah, I think it's definitely been harder during this pandemic to meet people and to kind of become close with people. Like Ben said earlier, at our dinner and our team meals, we got a glass in between us that, we can't even really hear ourselves talk to each other. But no, there's definitely still been time to bond. Even with masks on, social distancing, things like that, you can still kind of talk and communicate and hang out with each other. So I've been very lucky to come in and have, Brock Wright, Tommy Tremble, and George, kind of the older people in our tight end room that have helped me out a lot, and just became really close friends with them.
We'll go next to Tyler James.
Hey, Michael, the drag route we talked about earlier, obviously one of the reasons that's successful is because you are so good at running after the catch. When did you develop that talent, and why do you feel like that is something that has come natural to you?
Yeah, I feel like in high school, I never really ran that route that much. It kind of came to me when I got here. But I feel like, the most important thing with that route is knowing if it's man or zone. If it's man, you're going to have someone trailing. If it's zone, you're going to have someone kind of sitting there waiting to give you the big hit. So it's a matter of catching the ball first and then kind of turning your head and seeing where the person is. It kind of came natural to me to just run after the catch with that route because I started running that route in the summer and never really ran it in high school, but I became very, very confident with it here, and it's been pretty successful. So.
And we will wrap it up with you with Holly Rowe.
Hey, I just wanted to ask you a little bit about growing up, kind of what other sports did you play and what other positions did you play that have allowed you to be kind of a well-rounded football player?
Yeah, I played football, basketball, and baseball growing up, all three, all the way really till freshman year, and then I played basketball and football. But kind of growing up, grade school, I kind of wanted to play basketball in college, didn't really know what I wanted to do. But kind of coming into high school, getting a little bit bigger, growing, starting to get some muscle mass to me, I thought football would be the right sport for me, and so far it's been working out well.
All right, we will wrap it up with you there, Michael. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll continue in a few moments with offensive lineman Liam Eichenberg. So if you do have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand.
Move this up.
All right, we'll go ahead and continue with offensive lineman Liam Eichenberg. Liam, your first question will be from Tim Priester.
Liam, Ian Book running the football obviously has been a big part of your offense. Clemson flattened out their pass rush against him, which made some running lanes difficult. How can you guys as an offensive line assist when a defense does that? And also, how can you take advantage of Alabama has struggled a little bit on third down this year?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is just staying on our guys, regardless if Book's sitting in there or running around. We just need to finish our block until the ball's thrown. It's tough knowing when the ball's thrown at times. But, I think Ian's going to do a really good job sitting in the pocket and throwing the ball like he has done all year. So, we're excited about it. Alabama's great defense, great defensive line, and it'll be a good challenge.
We'll go next to Tom Noy.
Liam, other than the obvious answer of everything, where does the offensive line maybe need to be better against Alabama than the last time out against Clemson?
We need to run the ball. It didn't show up in the last game. They showed us some looks that we weren't ready for, we weren't prepared for, and we took bad approaches. This week our coaching staff has done a better job at preparing us, I feel like, and for the future practices as well. I feel like they have a good plan. And, they're showing us a lot of looks that will potentially show up. And, Alabama's a good defense. They're going to line up. They're going to hit you in the mouth. And, it's the type of football we like. So we're excited about it. They're a very talented defensive line, great linebackers, and it should be good.
We'll go next to Holly Rowe.
Hey, Liam, I know that the media, a lot of us are so obsessed and focused on the last time Notre Dame played Alabama. I was curious, how old were you? And Coach has said you guys have really upgraded the physicality on the offense and defensive line since then. Do you remember watching that game, and could you speak to that?
I do not remember watching that game. If I'm being honest with you, I couldn't tell you how old I was. I just know that, it was a tough game, I guess you could say. But, it's a different year, different teams. And I feel like the offensive line has come a long way since then. I mean, nothing against those guys. I mean, they had a lot of great players. But I do know that's when I think Coach Heastan just got here, and the culture wasn't fully there, I guess you could say. So I feel like what we've built over these past couple of years will help us during this game specifically.
We'll go next to John Finneran.
Hi, Liam. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about losing Jarrett Patterson and what he brought to the offense. And what he's now bringing to the offense differently as, somebody who's standing and watching and helping out.
Yeah, Jarrett's the best center in the country, if I'm being honest. It sucks, to be honest with you. We missed one of our best players. You kind of get in the groove with things. He calls everything out. He's very vocal at the line. He does a good job communicating. But at the same time, Josh Lee stepped in. He's doing well. And, I only expect him to improve every game from here on out. So, I'm excited about it. I'm excited for him. And, it's tough. It sucks seeing somebody be injured, walking around with a boot, being on a scooter, because I know he would do anything to be out here. And it's just a tough situation for him. But at the same time, he's at practice. He's helping. He's coaching. He's giving advice. And, that's what you need from somebody of that caliber.
We'll go next to Jeff Spiegel.
Hi, Liam. Holly mentioned the last Alabama-Notre Dame game. There have been some other instances where Notre Dame maybe didn't perform up to its standard and on the big stage. How motivated is this team to change that narrative?
Yeah, in past years, I'm pretty sure Alabama got blown out by Clemson. I'm pretty sure other teams have been blown out as well in the playoffs. So, I'm not specifically concerned about that. This is a different year. This is a different team. We're taking it one game at a time. I personally don't care about the past, if I'm being honest with you. I'm just focused on this week and preparing the best we can to attack this opponent.
We'll go next to Dylan Sin.
Hello?
And Dylan, I believe you're muted. All right, we will circle back to Dylan, but we'll go next to Tyler James.
Hey, Liam, I got a couple questions for you. One, what does it mean to you to be an Outland Trophy finalist? And then two, I think we've gone all season without asking you about the jean jacket that you rocked in your season photo shoot. What's the story behind that?
Yeah, with the jacket, my roommates and I were just messing around, and we actually brought in some taxidermied animals that hang in our house, and then we just tossed on some random outfits. I put on a jean jacket, and then they put on some Hawaiian shirts. But my jean jacket has definitely been used a lot more than the Hawaiian shirt pictures, I guess you could say. It's not my preference, to be honest, but it's whatever. As long as people get a laugh out of it, I wasn't trying to be serious. And then in regards to the Outland finalists, I was excited, but at the same time, that's not my end goal. I guess you could say I want to win a national championship with this team, with this program. It's been a long time since we've been in that position, And, Coach Kelly's done a great job over these past years getting us to this point. And, this team just needs to finish it. We need to finish what we started. But at the same time, the Island finalist is a great honor. Quentin Nelson was a finalist past couple of years. That outcome is, a lot of people argue about that. And I mean, you probably know where I stand on that, but I'm excited.
We'll go next to Matt Fortuna.
Hi, Liam. Curious, how instrumental has it been to have a guy like Chris Watt helping with the offensive line this year? What have you learned from him as a guy who's in your guys' shoes not too long ago?
Yeah, it's definitely nice having somebody who played here, who understands the program. And also at the same time, he was in our shoes. He played in the NFL. And, I feel like it's tough for coaches at times who didn't play at this level or in the NFL to completely understand what is happening on the field. Coach Quinn does a great job with everything. And, Coach Watt just adds experience into that as well. Coach Quinn's been coaching for 30 years. And it's nice having Coach Watt, who's been in the NFL, who understands footwork, technique. And he also played for Coach Easton, who's one of the best in the country. He's one of the best offensive line coaches. Personally, I think he'll go down as one of the best ever. So it's nice having Chris Watt. He's a great guy, but at the same time, he's honest. He's demanding a lot, and that's what we need.
We'll go next to Chuck Freeby.
Liam, both Tommy, Rees, and Ben talked about situational execution being a problem early in the Clemson game and something that's been a point of emphasis in practice. For the offensive line, how do you guys improve on that getting ready for Alabama?
Yeah, Coach Quinn always talks about being a situational player, I guess you could say. One of the best compliments is he's a great situational player. And, for us, it's understanding certain looks, certain blitzes, what formation they're going to be in, what defense. A lot goes into it. What's the down and distance, and are we going to run the ball, pass the ball? So, I feel like we've taken more time out of this week. The offensive line has spent a little more time looking at situational plays, I guess, and downs. So it's just, it's one of those things that you kind of have to ante up on because last game it didn't work out well. So we're looking forward to it against Alabama, and practice has been a lot more consistent. And there's a lot more live periods in regards to like third and long, third and short, red zone, stuff like that.
And we'll wrap it up with you with Ralph Russo.
Hey, Liam. So I'm wondering, obviously this is a very unusual year. After a game, let's say after an afternoon game, you guys win. I would imagine you see families normally. You go out and hang out with your friends. Can you give me a little idea of like what was a post game like this year compared to previous years?
Yeah, pretty lot going on. After the game, I pretty much go home, lay on my couch, watch the game about 2 or 3 times, and then probably go pick up some food. I would talk to my parents for like 30 minutes outside, spaced out with masks on. They'd leave. Then I'd go to bed pretty much. So it wasn't anything crazy. We can't really, we've sacrificed so much. And, for me as a fifth year in my final season, a lot on the line for me personally. I can't risk getting sick, I guess you could say. And then along with that, getting others sick. A lot of guys on this team, even the younger guys, have done a great job at sacrificing and understanding the protocol and the guidelines that we need to follow. But there really hasn't been much, and lucky for me, a lot of people that I know aren't here. So it's been easy.
All right. And we will wrap it up with you there. Thank you very much, Liam.
All right. Thank you.
And we'll end this morning with Ian Book in a few moments. So if you do have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand. All right, we'll go ahead and get started with quarterback Ian Book. Ian, your first question will be from Tim Priester.
Ian, when Clemson flattened out their pass rush against you and took away some running lanes, what can you do, you personally and the offense in general, to help offset that? And also Alabama has shown a little bit of weakness at times on third down. How do you guys take advantage of that?
Yeah, the first one is just going to get through the progressions. Obviously, Clemson did a nice job of that, of keep me in the pocket. And, I felt that and knew that, and, tried to fix that in the second half. Just want to stay in there a little bit longer and go through the progressions. And that's what I got to do this week as well, on Friday against Alabama. They got a really athletic defense, and they'll probably do the same thing. So, when it's open, take it. Like I've talked about it before, it's a fine line of knowing when I can run and knowing when to, stay in there. So I've been working on that all year, and I'm going to just try to display that on Friday. And what was the second question? Missed it.
Yeah, how do you Alabama has struggled a little bit on third down. They're giving up 40% conversion rate. How do you take advantage of that?
Yeah, just about being consistent. We got to focus on the small details. We hurt ourselves in the ACC championship game by, not really focusing on the present and maybe looking in the past at bad plays or looking too far in the future at what we needed to do. We just got to focus one play at a time, especially on third down, and the rest will take care of itself. And third down is huge. It's about situations, and we've been focusing on that all, these 2 weeks with our team and with our offense, and understanding situational football and how to react and the best plays for that and the best way to, execute certain plays. So third down's huge. It's how you win games. We want to win that third down battle, and that's what we plan on doing.
We'll go next to Holly Rowe.
Ian, this is very hard-hitting journalism. I have two questions. First, the mustache. Could you let me know what's happening on your upper lip? And then my second question, my real one, is Alabama really presses. Their cornerbacks are so physical, and you don't get a lot of space. Is how do you know what's open and be very specific, with your throws and your windows, knowing how they press and play?
Yeah. First one is I will be shaving this mustache. It's just for fun. I just left it just because I'm actually going to get a haircut and shave here in the next day or so. Second is, obviously Alabama's defense is really good. Their corners, do an excellent job of, pressing and just doing really good at man coverage. And it's about timing routes. It's about understanding where our guys should be at the right time and trust. It's about chemistry we worked on this whole entire year. And now it's time to go display that. And, I believe in our guys, and I respect their guys. I understand what they can do, and I've seen it, this whole entire year. So it's going to be a great matchup. And that's what you ask for in these games. Every team's talented, so you can't get away with much. It's about, focusing every single play, and the small details will really, really, really matter. And, whoever can focus on those small details, the whole entire game, every play will end up winning.
We'll go next to Patrick Ingle.
Ian, besides the obvious that he's a 6'6" guy who can hurdle defenders, what made Michael Mayer so easy to trust so early in the year, especially on third down?
Just the way he carries himself, from the first day I met him. Yeah, someone that just wanted to come in and learn everything immediately, that's huge. Sometimes a freshman might want to take a back seat. And it wasn't Mike. He came here, he can do everything. He's just fun to be with. He cares. And I think care factor is everything, especially when I'm the old guy here and you see a freshman come in and just want to learn immediately. So he's somebody I trust from day one. And he was somebody that was, begging me to go out and run routes. And that's what you want as a quarterback. So excited for him, excited for his future. He's somebody I trust. Obviously, third down's been big. But every down, Mike can really win. I believe those 50-50 matchups, I'm really confident that Mike can go up and get the job done.
We'll go next to Tim O'Malley.
Ian, circling back to the cornerbacks of Alabama, Coach Rees and Coach Kelly were very complimentary of number 2, Patrick Surtain. Just wondering what the fine line is when someone is that talented in terms of testing him and the trust factor against, some type of discretion. And do you ever do you come off a corner a little quicker when he's that good in your progressions.
Yeah, I mean, yes, he's really good. There's no doubt about that, and really just means you got to be on time. And if you're late, he's gonna take it. And he's a really good corner who's going to play a lot of football for a lot of years in the future. So you got to be on time. You got to be confident that you've made the right read, the right choice, and then at the end of the day, you got to trust your receivers to go out and help you out. And that's really what it's about. You can't really be lackadaisical, and you can't be late. And that you don't want to find that out the hard way. So, but we know he's there. We know, how he plays. We studied a lot of film on him. So it's going to be really good. I'm not saying, you can't throw the ball there ever, but that he's just, he's really good corner. There's no doubt about that. And it's about being on time, especially from, my perspective as a quarterback.
We'll go next to Pete Sampson.
Ian, I wanted to ask you about going back to 7-on-7 days with Najee Harris and just sort of what you got out of that experience playing with him, but also, just sort of leading a guy who was already sort of five-star all everything back then. What you got out of that as a player? Yeah, he was, first off, he's just a great kid, from day one. I met him. He's an awesome guy to play with. And I just remember going down to LA and having a 7-on-7 tournament. And the plan was if we were ever down, you just throw it up and Najee would go catch it. And he was playing receiver for us and he did that. And that's how we were able to win some games. And he was by far the best player I've played with at that time. There's no doubt. And he's still one of them for sure. So he's an unbelievable player, really good person. Happy for him. He'll be playing a lot of football in the future as well. And our defense has got to step up. It's a great challenge for us. I think our guys are excited for it. But just to be able to play with him when, he was a 5-star, big name recruit and to be on, our 7-on-7 team together was awesome. And it really was just a 50-50 ball. Just throw it up to Najee and he'll go get it. And he did that pretty much every time. So it was good.
We'll go next to AP Stedham.
Yes, good morning, Ian. Ian, you had a chance to be around other players being recruited, such as Najee Harris. When you're approaching Alabama, have you ever given any of these players you met across the country who competed against Alabama a call to get an extra edge? You receive all the information from your coaches and everything, obviously, but have you ever called some of these players that have competed against Alabama? And is there any other team besides Clemson that might remind you of Alabama that you played against?
I would say, I haven't played Alabama yet, but I would say probably Georgia is my guess. I think they play, similar type of football, and we were able to play Georgia last year. So that was an unbelievable matchup. We weren't able to come out on top on that one, but again, I think they play similar. And I haven't reached out to anybody to see who's played Bama, but watched a ton of film with the coaches, and we know what they're capable of. They're a really good team, and we're just excited for the matchup. And just to be able to play Alabama at the Rose Bowl and be one of the 4 teams that has the opportunity to win a national championship is everything that we wanted this year. It's we got 2 goals. One's to graduate and one's to win a national championship. So we are here. We have that opportunity, and we just feel fortunate enough to get that shot, and we want to make the most of it.
And we will wrap it up today with Pete Byrne.
Hey, Ian, you were able to help lead this program to the playoffs. Your first year as a starter, now as a 5th year, you're back in the playoffs. I'm just curious what it means to you to be able to finish your college career on this stage, and what it would mean further to finish it off the way you want to.
Yeah, just fortunate to be able to be in the playoffs twice in my career is unbelievable. We just got a good program here in Notre Dame that gets it done, and we gotta go finish it though. We were able to make it there in 2018 and get close, but we didn't finish the deal. And we get another opportunity now with a lot of guys on the team who played in that game are now older, more mature, better leaders, better football players, and now we get that chance, and we want to finish it the right way. We had a bad taste in our mouth since that 2018 game for a lot of the guys that played in it. So just to be able to end my college career at the biggest stage, the Rose Bowl has been a game I've been watching since I was a little kid, and just to be in the playoffs, we want to finish it the right way. We truly have an opportunity, and it starts with believing. We believe we can win. We believe that we can win a national championship this year, and that's where it matters, and that's where it starts. And it's just an unbelievable opportunity for this team. And these guys believe. It's been a fun week, a couple weeks of preparation. We're just excited to get out to Dallas and go play on the biggest stage. That's why you come to Notre Dame. So we're here, we're ready to do it.
All right, and we will wrap it up there. Thank you very much, Ian.
Yep, thanks, guys.
And we will hand it back to Karen Linhart at the Rose Bowl for some more information.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. Our next Zoom session will begin at 12 p.m. Central with Alabama. Just a reminder, today's transcripts will be available on collegepressbox.com, and today's stream is also available on youtube.com/Rose Bowl game. Additionally, if you are in need of audio and video files, we encourage you to visit the CFP Media portal. That information is available on your media info sheet that was included in your credentials. Thank you so much and have a great day.